So I've landed in Great Falls, Montana. This is their airport. That's fantastic. I am here at the invitation of CVA muzzleloaders and Nikon Sport Optics for a 4-day spot and stalk mule deer hunt. I've never hunted mule deer before. I've killed plenty of whitetail spot and stalk in North Carolina. I've killed plenty of whitetail with muzzleloaders, but this is going to be the first time I'm going to be hunting in Montana. First time I'm going to be doing this kind of hunting. First time I'm going to be hunting mule deer, and I'm really excited. It's only 7:38 Montana time PM, but that means it was dark. I couldn't see the beautiful state as we were coming in on the plane. And my hunting partner gets in a couple hours later. I don't know if we're going to be getting up early tomorrow morning to hunt, or we're going to have kind of a soft start. We'll figure that out tonight, but right now I've got to go get my bags and find my ride. So I got to the lodge, and check this out. Those are all the kinds of racks that are on whitetail and mule deer around here. Got a nice big kitchen. Got a TV. Obviously that's probably not a moose shot around here. Don't know how to ask about that. And down here is where I'm going to be staying. Bottom bunk over here. And it's way colder than when I left Raleigh. I think it was 78 degrees, and it's probably 50 degrees in this room right now. So it's a wake-up call, but my adrenaline's going already just being here. I cannot wait. We're gonna just wake up kind of like a regular time tomorrow. Make sure that our muzzle loaders are still zeroed after flying. Always a smart thing to do. And then we're gonna get a soft start to our hunt. This is the first morning. It's around 20 to 8. And we got 5 does feeding about 100 yards away from our front door. Those are mule deer does. This is really pretty. This is our side-in range right here. Got nice benches set up. And target out at 100 yards. We're going to be hitting that once the light comes out. And no, those aren't actual animals, those are steel. We're taking shots, practice shots farther out. But boy, this North Carolina boy is cold standing out here in a t-shirt and socks. It's 37 degrees with a 20-mile-an-hour wind, and can't even see you might not be able to see the camera shaking. But I'm gonna get back inside, get warmer clothes on. It took about an hour to fully unpack our gear and set everything up for the 2017 CVA-Nikon mule deer hunt near Belt, Montana. By then, the sun was shining bright on the side-in range, where Jason Sebo of CVA and I confirmed that our Acura PR muzzleloaders were still zeroed after our flights. Yeah. Right there with the other two. We're good. All right. Next shot is going to be on a mule deer buck.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah is right. All right, so Jason, what do you do for CVA?
Hey guys, so I'm the national sales manager for BPI Outdoors. Manage the CVA muzzleloader and center fire line, power belt bullets, Durasight mounting systems, and Quake Industries. I guess I'll put my seatbelt on. And in the Quake line, as you know, we have probably the #1 sling on the market for under $20. It's the claw sling, extremely popular. If you wonder what Quake is, that's what we do for Quake, is the claw sling, optic covers, and yeah, that's what I do.
And what's our plan today?
So what we're gonna do, we got some deer spotted. We're gonna go up on a high ridge, and we've got a big, I wouldn't call it a bottom, I'd call it a valley. It's probably 2.5, 3 miles long. We're gonna start in one end, get out, glass for a while, really take our time glassing. By now it's 10:15, 10:30. We got in late last night, so we wanted to shoot our muzzle loaders this morning, make sure they're on. But most of the deer are probably gonna be bedded up by now, so we're just gonna pick apart small little areas, see if we can find anything, and then put a game plan together. We find something. Deer may get up and move during the day. The rut's not kicking in strong. It's October 21st, so it's opening day in Montana. But typically the rut kicks in about 2 weeks up here. But we're gonna do that for the start of the day and see what unfolds after that.
Awesome. BPI Outdoors leases a few ranches in the area, including this one where you'll find whitetail, upland birds, waterfowl, and coyotes to hunt, in addition to the mule deer we're here for. Hunting begins with glassing the terrain, looking for mule deer of interest. A higher power spotting scope is then used to determine whether or not a particular buck is old enough to stalk. This area of Montana is usually a bit windy, but today is exceptional with a steady 40-mile-an-hour wind and gusts up to 60 miles an hour. This kept us in the truck for glassing because the wind would shake our binoculars so much they were pretty much useless for seeing anything in the distance. I was using the Nikon Laser Force for my spotting. They're 10x42 binoculars with a built-in 1900-yard rangefinder. That meant I could find the deer, then know how far they were with 2 quick pushes of a button. No need to put the glass down, pull out a separate rangefinder, then try to find the deer again with a much smaller field of view. We saw a mule deer right away, but nothing too interesting yet. This is what we're dealing with. This wind like this. We've been around these deer. They're all down in the bottom here. And just ripping through here. I mean, it's gusting past 40 miles an hour easy. But these deer are just not going to be moving. We see lots of does. We know there are bucks in here, but this isn't the kind of hunting where we can just walk across all this openness to get to the brush where the deer are and push them out. It doesn't work that way. So we might be coming back here just as it starts getting dark. The winds will be changing, and then that settles the wind down, and they'll start moving again. But I can barely hold on to the camera. We ended up seeing about 100 mule deer that day, including a herd of about 40 right here as the sun was setting. Though we saw a few nice bucks, none presented a reasonable chance of a successful stalk. We had 3 days left and just didn't want to risk busting the deer off the ranch pushing our luck this early. So we chalked it up to a day of scouting and headed home for a late dinner. So it's the morning of day 2. And 6:24, it gets light pretty late here. To my body, it's 8:24 in the morning, and I'm used to getting up around 5 a.m. East Coast time, so I'm ready to go. I've been up for a while, but you know, the winds we had yesterday were bad. Today, it's absolutely gonna be horrific. The weather forecast is for a severe wind advisory, 35 to 45 mile an hour steady winds, gusts up to 75 miles an hour. Now, we think where we were experiencing close to that because of the way the draw is in the coulees. But if the forecast for today is just simply more wind than what we experienced yesterday, we've already decided we're going to glass this morning, and hopefully the winds won't be picking up yet. There's kind of like a 20 mile an hour wind now, which we can manage, but we're going to just scout from the truck this morning. If we can get on something before the winds pick up, great. If not, we'll just treat today as another scouting day, because forget getting close to mule deer in this kind of wind. I can't make a 100-yard shot in a 75 mile an hour gust. with a muzzleloader. It's just not going to happen. It's just putting the deer at risk. So, but tomorrow the winds are supposed to drop down to 18 miles an hour steady. Same thing for Tuesday. And our hope is we can figure things out today, kind of get game plans for, okay, if the deer are in this area, this is what we want to do. The deer in this area, this is how we're going to do it. And then tomorrow, it's just like anytime you have a weather pattern that deer have to hole up for a while, will be the second day where the deer really aren't going to want to move. I mean, this could be actually the best thing for us. People don't realize that these bad 2 days can set us up for an amazing day tomorrow. And that's the way I'm looking at it. Today is a planning day. If we might get lucky, that'll be fantastic. I'd love to get a buck today, but today might be setting us up to see a lot of good bucks and have really good opportunities tomorrow and Tuesday. This wind is insane. I don't even know if you can hear me over it, but there's a herd right down there if I could get my camera to focus. And we think there's a nice buck in the middle of it because he's got a good body on him and he's chasing a deer around. Oh man, oh. They just slammed the door shut in the truck. Yeah, this has got to be over 40 miles an hour, this gust right now. What we decided is it's got to be a really sure bet today for us to set up on any deer, because we don't want to run the risk in this wind of busting the deer, because I can't shoot past 40 yards in wind like this with a muzzleloader and expect the bullet to end up where I'm aiming. And I'm not gonna take a shot that's gonna put the deer at risk of getting wounded. And we decided we're not gonna be aggressive at all today. We are gonna scout this out, and this is an investment for tomorrow. We watched these deer from a few different vantage points all day, but once again, the wind kept the deer too skittish to attempt to stalk. Just as the wind started to wane for the evening, we decided to switch ranches to one with more tree cover near where the deer typically bed. This would give us better cover for an approach, as well as a better chance of getting the hunt on video. It's 4:45, driving right into the sun here. We're switching ranches. We've been driving for about a half hour from where we've been hunting all day, and we saw lots of deer there, but there's just no way to really get to them without getting busted, and they were really squirrely. And there's a bunch right here, right off the road. So that's what we're heading out. We're almost there, and we're gonna get a game plan together once we get some eyes on them, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I see him. Very nice.
They're right up in there. With the sun right in the camera, you can't really make anything out. All right, we got a target buck. I got to look at him through the spotting scope, and he is a 4x4 with eye guards. They say he's an average mule deer, but he's in a good place to get video, especially in this wind, and we're gonna at least get a closer look at him. And oh man, my mouth just went dry. Like, I'm really excited now. He looks good compared to the other deer that we've been seeing all day today, so I feel pretty good about this. And there are trees that we're gonna pop over the top and try to come over and get behind them, and hopefully we'll have a close enough shot for a muzzleloader. We're just gonna sneak through here and go over, and hopefully we'll get within 150 yards. We took our time walking through the pines and got low before coming out the other side. With the deer not too far below the tree line, we belly crawled out to a pine that looked to be good cover for me behind my CVA muzzleloader and Jason behind the camera. Turns out we were more right than we could have hoped. I didn't pop up for a peek until I got all the way into the pine tree, and right below us was the mule deer buck we were after, along with a herd of about a dozen does and smaller bucks. I was able to wedge my Acura PR in the notch between a branch and the tree trunk, loaded with a 300 grain Power Belt Platinum Arrow Tip over 100 grains of Blackhorn 209 powder. The wind was still a stiff 20 miles an hour or more, blowing diagonally from the herd towards our right. None of the deer looked up to us once in the 30 minutes or so we waited for this nice 4-pointer to stand up. It wouldn't have mattered though, as we were both buried in the pine. There was no way for them to smell us or see us. A few Charlie horses from holding my awkward position later, some of the does started to get up and move out. Then a few of the smaller bucks got up. It was still another 10 minutes before the herd was down to our buck and one other. Lots of hunters will tell you their heart was racing, waiting for a buck already in sight to offer a shot, but I have proof it's not just an expression. I actually got a warning on my Apple Watch that my heart rate was elevated to 131 beats per minute, even though it sensed no activity from me. My resting heart rate is in the 50s to put that into perspective. I was super nervous, but the best kind of nervous, anticipating the moment where I was going to cock the hammer and pull the trigger. As expected, the other buck got up first, but I knew that meant our buck would stand at any minute. I asked Jason if he was recording, and he understandably worried I was going to shoot the wrong deer. That's not him. Okay. Just making sure. With the buck only about 55 yards away, I put the crosshairs of the Nikon inline XR scope right where I thought his vitals would be as he stood up, and waited for him to give me the shot I needed. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Go.
Reload. I'm on him. You reload. Don't worry about him.
He's going down.
Boom. He's down, buddy. I got your rangefinder.
Oh, it fell out. Okay. I'm just doing a precautionary reload, but that was a solid trigger pull. Solid rest. Oh man, with this wind, I saw his tail flag and he's down. That should be good.
Got it done.
That's what I'm working on.
No rush.
You can imagine my fingers aren't working so great right now. Ready to walk down?
Yep.
Oh man. Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm watching. I was looking at the shot. It's totally great shot. Look at the. Yeah.
Big camera. What do you think?
That was one of the most thrilling hunts I've ever done.
Great
Absolutely. Well, I mean, what was that? 55 yards?
No, it was a little further than that.
Yeah, well, it was darn close.
Pretty close.
And the amount of times that I dry fired in practice, I don't have a primer in here, but I'm sitting there and we were watching them for, well, felt like hours, but what, 40 minutes maybe?
Yeah.
I was in that tree and I'm sitting there and doing this, locking in just because I didn't want to choke on the actual shot. And oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's a great deer. He's a really good muzzleloader.
I am happy with that, actually. The experience of getting this guy. Oh, and there's those cramps. I was cramping up in that tree and I had to keep shifting legs, but all I wanted was a 4x4. And we got this one spotted on a different ranch than we've been hunting for the past 2 days. We might have seen bigger guys than this where we were, but we didn't have the opportunities like we did here, especially to get it on camera, because that was so important. And fantastic, Jason. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Thank
you're
you
welcome.
for CVA for bringing me out here, for
Absolutely.
Nikon for helping out with this as well. I'd like to say that I used Nikon's ballistics drop calculating reticle, but I didn't need it at that range. But you know, the thing that I liked about it in the trees was it was such an awkward position, but it still has a 5-inch eye relief, so I had nice clean view once I snapped enough of the branches out of the way. And man, we've been a great team this whole time. We've been
battling 70-mile-an-hour winds, and
yeah, but we were working together, finding stuff, and it's funny that, you know, all the effort we put on that other ranch, that's not where we got it, but maybe we'll get one for you.
yeah, we'll try.
All right.
The week's not over yet.
Thanks again.
Yeah.
I really appreciate
You're
it.
welcome, Cameron. Good shooting, buddy.
And thanks for watching.
Don't go anywhere yet, because the footage from the next hunt is going to blow you away.
Today is the third morning for our mule deer spot and stalk hunt in Montana, and I got an average sized buck for around here last night. The setup was just too good to pass up, and they gave me the final say on whether we were going to go after it or not. And the point of this whole thing was to make sure we got something good on video with the CVA Accurate PR and the Nikon Inline XR. And we did that. It was the video, I've previewed it. It came out fantastic. So we've got 2 more days. The wind today is so much better than it has been the past 2 days. Since we have one on video, we're going to be able to take risks today that we wouldn't have taken in the past 2 days. And we're going to go after some of the bigger bucks that we've been seeing around here. Hopefully we'll get Jason a nice one. So we found what might be the herd that we were watching yesterday out here, and we know there's one really big one, but they're starting to come out from the coulee on the mid left of the screen and walking out to the right. And right now we see 5 of them, but I bet there's a lot more with them, and we're just gonna hang out here, see what comes out, kind of see where they go, and then we'll develop a game plan if the big one is with this group. So we found a buck running does across from where we are, all the way across. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to even get it to focus through the windshield. Well, you can see the spots out here in that light stuff. There's a field right there. And we'd had about a 10-minute drive around to get to them, but the problem is the approach is totally open, and they are hauling right now. They are running like crazy. We need to move. Just keep moving. that's not good. Oh, they're hooking back in.
No, he just drops into that coulee.
We decided to drive into the bottom of the ranch and attempt to stalk up into the coulee where we saw that buck drop into, but the wind was just wrong. Combined with the fact that the mule deer tend to look downhill when they're bedded, the wind blowing from us directly to the deer did not give us a good chance for a successful stalk.
I don't see him. The thing is, I mean, they could have run up over to another coulee. They could have stayed in this coulee. Where's the last one?
Should we really get out and get the flag in and
That's kind of what I'm thinking. We can get on that side. We can get on that point and glass back in here and see if we can spot them and then
Alright.
put a game plan together
all right.
instead of blowing them out of the country.
Yeah. This is tough terrain to be sneaky in.
Yeah. I mean, we could. I mean, we have the shadow to our advantage. We could side hill it and just go real slow. But I mean, there again, I don't know. It's almost like flipping a coin.
Well, we know there's more than one good one in here anyway.
Yeah. I mean, my gut tells me to get back up on the top, but on that side and glass back into these bottoms.
We decided to get back up on top of the ranch and try to glass the deer from the other side before deciding the best direction to start our next stalk. The hour we spent walking in the bottom did give me a chance to see the new steel target range Bergara set up for a long-range shooting school they're opening next year.
On this hill where we are, we see these steel targets everywhere. They've been set up. Bergara is going to start running a long-range shooting course, mainly for people who don't have experience doing it, geared more towards hunters than necessarily towards precision competition shooters. And we got these steel targets set up all along this hill, and up there is where they're going to be shooting off of a platform. Maybe I'll be able to snag an invite to that. That should be fun.
It didn't take us long to find our buck once we got up on top of the opposite side of the ranch. By this time of day, the sun was now shining into the coulee we've been watching, illuminating a nice white rack, confirming this was a buck worth hunting.
There he is. That light dot right in there in that shadow.
We got back into the truck to come up with a plan. We decided to drive back around to the other side of the ranch where we started, but this time we were going to drop into the coulee from above. With no cover other than the grass, this meant we had to crawl on our bellies and slide on our backs to keep from being seen. Since we already had my hunt on video, it wasn't as important to get Jason's shot in frame. I decided to hang back and let him stalk out in front of me, reducing the chance we'd blow the deer out of the coulee by getting skylined. I just wanted to make sure I at least had line of sight on him when he made the shot. He'd crawl out to a crest, then glass over it. As he slipped over the other side, I'd catch up by crawling or sliding down the hill on my back, making myself as flat as possible. After an entire hour of this process, I saw Jason lift his CVA up to his shoulder and peer through his scope. I waited for the distinct boom of a muzzleloader, but it didn't happen. He put the CVA back down, turned to me, and indicated that he saw 2 bucks below him. I spent another 5 minutes slowly working in behind him, taking a longer path than he did just to make sure I wasn't seen by the bucks. Once I got there, I could see the distinct white tips of a very nice 3-point mule deer buck shining through the brush below us. It took me a few more minutes to be able to pick out the very brown antlers on the 4-pointer bedded below him. You'll have to take my word for it because that buck's rack just doesn't show up well in the footage. He's there though, and he's even bigger than the deer we've been watching this whole time. The Nikon Laser Force binoculars made picking out tines in the brush as easy as it was getting the range. This is where we sat for 2 hours, taking turns watching the bucks and stretching from the awkward positions we were in. The wind remained in our favor the whole time, and neither deer looked our way even once. By this point in the day, I had only 12 minutes of battery left in my camera with my extra batteries back in the truck. I hated to do it, but I had to turn it off to make sure I could get the shot. That's why this clip starts with the three-pointer already standing. From there, it happens really fast. Keep your eyes on the ground right in front of that deer's nose. Jason just made a perfect shot with his accurate PR shooting a 300 grain Aerolite power belt. CVA says that this is the most accurate break action muzzleloader ever made, but once again, our stock meant we didn't have to put that to the test.
Oh,
Wow, that was forever.
Holy cow.
Oh,
Man.
we sat here for what, 2 hours?
2.5 hours?
It took us an hour to get down here.
At least. We spotted him from way over there, guys. I mean, miles away. Spotted that big 3-point. Luckily, he got in the sun and we were able to see him. And then we just drove all the way around. I marked him on the GPS, figured out where he
Dude,
was.
I cannot believe it. You dropped in right freaking on top of him.
I mean, it just...
That's real skill, man. You were right on top of him, and I think
luck.
really the only reason we did this way was because we weren't expecting to get this on camera, but we did, dude.
Yeah, we got it, man.
45-yard shot, man.
45 yards.
I'm gonna grab your gloves.
Oh, thanks, man.
Forget something
Actually,
small.
I'll stick it in my pocket.
Okay, you got it.
Yep.
Hurry up! I want to go down and see him.
You rolling?
Yeah, I never hit stop. Oh, dude. Nice. Look how dark those horns are.
Oh, holy. Yeah, look, get this primer out. Oh, man. Put this CVA accurate PR down right here. Oh my gosh, he's a giant. That is a great central Montana whitetail right there. Just a great symmetrical 4x4. Great eye guards, inch and a half eye guards. Dark horns, nice and heavy. Accurate PR did the job.
Oh yeah, nice.
300 grain Aerolite.
And just to confirm, that's a mule deer, not a whitetail.
Oh yeah.
That's okay, man. You're excited like
Did I
you
say
should.
whitetail?
You did. You
I meant
said
mule deer.
you said whitetail. Well, who cares, man?
A boy from Georgia's used to chasing whitetails, not mule deer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's a great one, man.
He was chewing his cud too, man.
Honestly,
You interrupted his cud.
I didn't know this deer was with that big 3-point. This
Yeah.
was really a surprise. When we got over here and literally 45 yards from him, just absolutely smoked him with the smoke pole. Great buck.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks, Cameron.
Thanks for coming out here, man.
I was happy to do it. I had a great time at my hunt last night, and I cannot believe we got both of these hunts on camera.
No kidding.
Now I got to change battery. We got to run out to the truck and get a new battery for the rest of this.
/ hour hike.
Yeah, no kidding.
I want to thank CVA and Nikon for inviting me on this hunt, Chad and Marsha Shearer for being such gracious hosts, and their sons, Walker and Wyatt, two of the most polite young men I've ever met. Those boys are mature well beyond their years, and their help made all the difference in the success of this trip. I'd like to thank Jason Sebo most of all for being such a great hunting partner. Even though I was a mule deer hunting newbie, Jason kept me involved in the decisions we had to make all day, every day. That meant we earned both bucks together. I really appreciate you watching Twang and Bang, and I hope to see you next time.